let me start with one of my favorite quotes, right? And it's written on my slides. I'll just read it out. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? This is one of the, I think, very famous quote, which I'm very sure that you all would have heard number of times. But the second line is very interesting. It says a prototype is worth 1,000 meetings. Again, if I just get into small detail on this, the idea here is like whenever we develop any product, right? It can be software, it can be any hardware, it can be vehicles, it can be any big system, right? So it's always good practice to do a some level of prototyping, validate with a set of users, test it, iterate it, and then make sure you're taking all the features, all the functionality which people are looking for. So say example, if you're building a chair, right, make sure you're building a chair which is suitable for the people who are going to buy that chair. You're building a that chair which is very much applicable for that particular country, right? So say even the chair design can vary country to country, context to context. If you're designing something for the European market, you need to make sure that you are taking care of the user base which are there in the UK market, right? The height, width, the how tall they are, right? What kind of chair they preference, what kind of color they preference. So that's where the prototype comes into the picture. So basically, you do make sure you always do the prototype before even jumping into the actual solution development. And if you ask me what is the soul of user experience subject, so that's the soul of user experience subject. The moment we say we are involving the user experience process, it's all about making sure that we understand users, we talk to them, right? We validate them, what exactly they are looking for, right? How it should look, how it should work, what kind of feeling they are looking with that particular product, and then you go and build that product, right? Again, in between I may deviate from my slides, but the whole idea, we have more interactive kind of a discussion. I'll try my best to make the subject simple, right? So let me go to the next slide. I think agenda I've already covered, but quickly I'll read out. These are the 5 points, right? 4 points. So we'll go through the user experience definition. We'll talk about the process. We'll talk about the different roles and skills. Then definitely, if some of you are interested to how to become a UX designer or developer, right, we will discuss that. And then definitely, in the end, we'll have a Q&A session. So basically, for next 55 minutes, I'm going to sing a song. It's all about UX. So let's go see. When we talk about this user experience, right, there are n number of definition you can get on internet. You just browse and you get from Wikipedia. There are different websites. But in terms of definition, right, it's very simple. It's all about user experience is how a person feels when interfacing with a system, interfacing or interacting with a system, right? The system can be website, mobile, desktop, like any hardware, chair, table, or like car, anything, right? You think about anything with which human interact. So that's and human interact, right? And you get a feel that comes under the user experience subject. But when we talk very specific about software, right, mobile or desktop or web, the term which is quite common in industry is HCI, human computer interaction. But when we say user experience, it's a very wide term, very wide terminology, right? As I said, you can relate with anything. Let's say if you go to any restaurant, hotel, the kind of experience you get, that's your experience, right? That's user experience for you, right? Let's say in your Bangalore, maybe some of you may prefer to have an Andhra food, and Nagarjuna is one of the famous mess, right? Why? Because you might feel the taste is good, the kind of service is good, right? The way they serve you, it's good, the quality product and all. So there may be different factors which makes you happy, satisfied, and that's the reason you prefer to use that product or service. So again, in general, when we think about the UX, it's a quite wide term, right, in industry. But to make it very specific to computer world, right, we can definitely say HCI is one other term which we can use, human computer interaction. Do I need to pause and ask, like, if you wanted to have any questions, or can I just move slide by slide? Okay, okay. See, we as a human, we whenever we use any product, right? So there are few things which we try to observe. Let's say if you buy a mobile, one of the first definitely question which comes like whether this mobile is going to add or give you proper value or not, right? Does this mobile have a good functionality, right? Functionality in the sense, does this serve the purpose which I'm looking for? Let's say if you are a mobile gamer, you may prefer to have a mobile which has a good performance, right? If you are someone who watch a lot of YouTube and videos, use a lot of multimedia, then you may go with better graphic card and all, right? Better performance. If you are just into reading certain kind of a material, not much into all these different activities, you may go with the some very basic kind of a mobile. So the functionality, it's one of the very key factor. As a user, you decide what exactly you wanted to buy, right? Now when we talk about usability, right, how easy for you to use that particular product or system, right? When I say easy in the sense, is it easy for you to learn? Does it take a lot of time for you to learn this mobile? Let's say if you're on Android and if I give you the Apple, right, I think it will take at least 1 or 2 days to get adjusted with the Apple interaction, right? See, again, I may be giving the example of a mobile or application, but you can relate this with anything. So the thing or product or service which is easy to use, you as a user, you feel more comfortable using that, right? You feel satisfied with those kind of product and services. And again, one more which is more like a perceived kind of a human psychology, right? So sometimes you may not be able to give the reason why you like it, right? But there's something, might be some reason because of that you feel this is something which is satisfying me, right? It may be the look and feel or the texture of that. When you touch it, you feel better, right? So let's take example of car, uh, right? When we go for a premium cars, one of the reason people like premium cars, you will have a leather kind of a soft touch material. They use it, right? If you go for a cheaper car, you might get the plastic kind of a material. So that's it. There are a lot of factors. We understand that prices and all, but this is how the experience is defined and designed in the product. So these are the see there are more, but in terms of understanding this subject, these are the four core thing which as a user we look for. Just to support this statement, right? The car, again, I'm just deviating from our subjects just to help you guys understand this user experience better, right? You guys can search on YouTube. Sometime back, this was the first time when BMW launched their one of the very famous ad campaign. And what they did in that ad campaign, they did not use car. They are not showing any car in that advertisement. They are just showing that scenery, some mountains, trees, and they are saying this is the kind of experience you're going to get when you drive a BMW car, right? So feel like what exactly feel you're going to get. You're going to get a good breeze, good weather. You can feel when you drive a BMW car. So just search that on internet. You will definitely get on YouTube. So again, when people go for any product or solution, these are the four key areas which will help them to define the best experience of any product, right? Now question is, what is product development, right? Again, I will not get into a lot of detail, but on high level, if we try to understand what is product development, right? You have some idea, and what you do, you take that idea and start defining the functionality, defining the system, right? Then you go and build that idea, which is design and develop, and then you go and ship it. So that's what we do on high level when we talk about any product development. It can be software as well as any hardware. So now let's understand how UX process fits into this uh, product development process. Okay, I'll take small pause here. Does anyone have any questions, anything to discuss? That will give some break to me also. Anyone, anything or Can you guys hear me? Okay, okay, okay. I'll go back to my slide. If you don't have any question, I'll go back to my slide. Okay. See, when we talk about okay, someone is writing the cycle. Okay. See, when we talk about UX process, and see again, you can search this on internet. You'll get a lot of definition. But again, as I said, right, my idea to make it simple so that you guys can remember this definition. Just remember this 4D. It's all about discover, define, design, and development. And if you look at here, right, we discuss about the prototype kind of a process. Between define and design, there is a feedback and iterate process. Again, between the design and development, there is a iterate process. And we will get into more detail about each of these phases, right? So let to make it easy for us to understand. See, when we talk about, okay, so let me give you one example. I think it will be easy for all of us to understand. So, say example, I wanted to construct a house in Bangalore. I believe most of you are from Bangalore, Bangalore or Mangalore, right? So let's take example of Bangalore. So let's say if I wanted to construct a house in Bangalore, right? So what I will do, I have a family. I have like my wife, two kids. I'll spend I think good amount of time. At least it will take maybe 2 to 3 months of time, identifying the right area where I can go and construct my house, right? Which is more accessible to the places where I wanted to go, which is close to my office, which is close to my school kids, which is definitely close to some hospital, right? So that's something which we call a discovery kind of a process. So you are investing a good amount of time identifying the location, the need of your family members. Your kid, they wanted to go to school, right? Your wife, she wanted to go to market and buy something. So you make sure that all these different checkpoints are covered as part of your discovery process. You spend good amount of time identifying that specific location, right? Then once you identify that all this data, then next what you will do, you will go and find out a architect who can take all of this input and give you the blueprint of your house, right? So architect will come and he will ask set of questions, how many floors you want, who are there at home, right? Do you have any old people at home? So based on the set of questions, the architect will go and give a blueprint, and that blueprint is the base for you to go and build your house. So that's where you go and invite construction folks and they will start building your house, right? So let's try to align this process or any product development process with the same example. So if we look at here, discovery is all about the process where you're trying to understand the different user need, different features which you wanted to have in your product. Let's say you're building a mobile application, WhatsApp kind of application, right? So you'll go and understand what set of user you want to target, whether you're targeting young folks, old folks, or all set of users, right? You talk to them, what are the different applications they are using today, what kind of features you're looking for, right? Whether you're just looking for a text messages kind of application, or whether you wanted to have a text plus multimedia combination, right? Emojis, GIF animation. So basically, you will go and identify the complete set of requirement as part of this first UX discovery process. It's all about talking to the user, having a one-on-one discussion with them, doing a survey with them, and gathering the requirement. Just to make it easy, let's take one example. You folks would have got this kind of a mail from Airtel and from different companies, right? The survey mails. So the survey mail you get so that they can collect the data and uh, discover and understand our need. So surveys are one mechanism. When you go to shopping malls, I don't know how many of you notice this. You will see a lot of people who are observing you. That's called an observation study. They try to understand what exactly you're buying, how exactly you're moving into the campus, in the shopping mall, whether you're using the lift or staircase or elevator, right? Just to I'll give you one more interesting example for this. When you go to the shopping mall, right, you guys would have noticed while doing the final process of your billing, when you stand in the queue, right? You see next to you there are lot of small items which they keep, 5 rupees, 10 rupees, 20 rupees. Again, the reason they did a lot of observation study with a lot of set of users, that when you go for a final billing, you would have already spent 5,000, 3,000, 10,000 rupees, right? And then they'll keep this small pieces of 5, 10 rupees, and you as a user you think, okay, see, I'm spending this much amount, right? Why don't I go and take this box or this pencil box? Sometimes you're with your family, your kid may come and ask, papa, buy that pencil or buy that so and so bag, right? And again, this psychologist, you already spend a lot of money and you think, okay, that's okay, this is just 5 rupees or 10 rupees, and you go and buy that, right? And once you reach home, high possibility you may not even use those kind of product which you're buying in the later stages. The reason, again, see, this is the kind of psychology study they do this, which is part of observation study, and they understand how they can make money out of the users or customers, right? Same, if you notice the way they keep the staircases in shopping mall or elevator, they will not keep in one place. So you go from one floor to the second floor. To get again elevator, you need to walk towards the other side. So while walking, you look at the shops, and you may again become someone who will go and spend money again. So as part of the discovery process, right, there are different techniques which people use: one-on-one discussion, surveys, observation, and you collect a lot of data. Then next define, we discuss, right? You collect the data, then you do the blueprint. Same in our software world, we do wireframing or storyboarding, right? So basically, if you're building the WhatsApp application, which we have taken example, right? If you're building that application, you make sure that you start putting now all this requirement in more scientifical way and more pictorial way, so that you understand which will be the first screen. Once you click, what will be the next screen, what will come if I click on the send button, if I click on that. So basically, the overall experience which we get from any application, you detail out each and every steps as part of this process, where you call wireframing, right? So again, in our construction world, you call blueprint. In our software world, we call that as a wireframe exercise or storyboarding. In movie industry, they call storyboarding. Again, I'll give a small example so that this example will make it more interesting. So now you guys know that Avatar is coming in December, right? James Cameron movie. I don't know how many of you know this. Avatar movie was written before Titanic, and he did the complete storyboarding. He had the storyboarding ready before Titanic of this Avatar movie, the first Avatar movie. And he waited, I think, 10 to 12, I don't know how many years, just to have the right technology to implement, right? Or I'll take another example. If you guys have seen the movie called 100, right? There is a English movie called 100, war movie. So this movie, you can read on Wikipedia. I think the whole overall movie shooting was done in, I think, in 60 or 100, 60 to 70 days. Again, the reason, because they had a very, very strong storyboarding done. So this movie called 100 is based on a Franklin novel. It's based on novel, comics novel, which is done by Franklin, I think, if I correct remember. Yeah, Franklin. And they had all the pictorial, complete end-to-end story of this 100 movie. And see, so what I'm trying to say, if you have your research done properly, if you have your blueprint done properly, see, the execution and all, it takes less amount of time, and you will make the overall execution process very efficient, because you know exactly what need to be built. And this is the one of the greatest or the best advantage of UX process, right? When we do this UX process, you gather the requirement, you do a lot of wireframing, storyboarding, or quick sketches or prototype, but you don't directly jump into the development. You create a lot of prototype, you validate with the users. If you look at here, right, this feedback and iterate. So basically, you build a prototype. Now you're testing with the users. Let's say this application, right? WhatsApp kind of application. Now you build something based on the requirement which you gathered. Now you're testing with the actual users, taking their feedback, again iterating it. And once you lock it, then you go to the design. So design is all about taking this prototype to the next level, making it better in terms of adding the colors, uh, the look and feel, how it's going to look, right? Adding the animations, basically taking this to the next high level prototype. And again, you take this back to the actual users, right? Then you do this again, feedback, iterate kind of exercises. And finally, once you have the complete clarity, that's where you go and build the final product. Again, if we take back our that house example, right? So once you are done with the blueprint, you are not supposed to directly jump into the construction, right? So what we should do, the way all these big builders they do these days, right? They go and build a 3D prototype. So 3D prototype will help you to understand how this actual house will get constructed. First thing. Second, how it's going to look. Third, how each and every room will have in terms of the interior design, what kind of sofa you wanted to put, what kind of material colors you wanted to use in your room. Let's say if I'm building a room for my parents, right, who are old, I wanted to use orange and red colored so that it gets you get that more divine or a kind of a feel, right? If I'm building a room for my kid who is into more music or arts, I'll make it more funky kind of a room. So basically, you put your all requirement clearly, and you do this 3D modeling with all the details. Then if you go for the execution, it's very smooth. And that's how you look at all the builders, right, these days. All the, whether it's a construction or a car, you look at any successful industry, they follow this process. So gather the requirement, do very low level quick mockups, iterate, take feedback, then take it to the high level design, again iterate, take feedback. And once everything is very crystal clear, then you use the right technology and go and build it. Same the Avatar example or 100 movie example, right? That's the exact process they did. Same with the Walt Disney. All the Walt Disney movies, they follow the same process. So again, see, in software industry, there are a lot of term which we use today. It's already there in some of the industry, in movie industry, in sports industry. And when we get into all these details, like how they are successful in their domain, you get to know this. There are certain great practices and process which they follow. Okay, I think this is good for all of us to understand this process on high level. Now I'll move to the next slide, which I think will definitely give you more insight in terms of the what kind of skill set we need, right, to become a UX designer or a developer, right, or a be very efficient member of this overall team and process. So again, there may be more skills and career options, but on high level, these are the three: UX analyst, UX designer, and developer, right? So UX analyst, someone who does all the research work, gather the requirement, do one-on-one discussion, surveys, collect the data, do a lot of brainstorming, right? Do competitive study, how other people are doing in industry, right? So basically, all data collecting and making sure that we are taking care of all the users' needs, all the business needs, right? As part of this overall process. The designer, uh, the person who will take all this data and give it a more pictorial representation, right? Do the complete detail layout, how it's going to look, how this particular screens are going to work, how the screens will get connected to each other, right? Stitching the complete screen to screen story. And the last, I think, I believe a lot of us understand this. You're UI developer or developer, right? The person will go and give the life to this all concept, right? They are the people who use different technologies, let's say HTML, CSS, JavaScript, right? Uh, there are more basically, right? So basic on high level, this three: HTML, CSS, JavaScript. But if you're doing a desktop application, Silverlight, but I don't think these days people are using Silverlight or not. Yeah. So they are the folks who will come into the picture and they'll give the life to the concept or the design which we have built as part of the process. So these are the high level three different skill set which we see in industry, right? Again, if you search with any of this keyword, you get to see what exactly they do, what kind of output they are supposed to achieve, right? Uh, And in all the companies, you will see these positions: analyst, designer, and developers, right? And in terms of, if any of you are interested in terms of package and all, there are a lot of websites these days. One definitely, if if someone is very specific about it, they can go and check this levels.fyi. See, there are more, but I think this is good. If you wanted to understand with your experience with so and so certain skill set, right? What is that companies are offering these days? Or the LinkedIn is good. You search on LinkedIn also, you'll get to see all these different roles. Now question is like, what should be the educational qualification? I think I did not cover that. See, anyone. So the beauty of this UX subject, it's all about being passionate. If you are passionate or about this subject, like, I'm telling you, this is definitely easy subject, right? I'll give you some more URLs or places. I'll tell you how, if someone wanted to become, how they can go through certain courses or materials to develop the skills, right? But yeah, UX analysis is something which definitely need to have some good amount of experience, uh, minimum 5 to 7 years of experience if you wanted to be good analyst, right? This is not something which you can quickly learn in a 1 or 2 days. You can definitely go through a lot of materials, but to get a good hold on the subject, we definitely need to have a decent amount of experience. Designer, again, is another creative kind of a subject where you need to be definitely strong interest in terms of the look and feel, colors, how you wanted to align things, right? And again, we all can, whoever is passionate, we can develop the skill. Developer, I'm telling you, this is very much in demand in market, right? If you ask me in one project, what is the combination of all these three rules? UX analyst maybe one or two, right? UX designer you might have two or three, but the more number of members you will have a developer folks, because you need to give life to the concept which you have built, right? And whoever is interested in the front end technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, this is a great domain and it's very high in demand in market. So let's get into more detail and understand with some examples what exactly they deliver, what kind of work they create, right? So I'll go first UX analyst, then I'll go designer, and then a developer. So see, UX analyst or researcher. So don't get confused with these terms. There are a lot of terms or jargon we use in industry, but in easy or in simple way, the people who do the discovery, right? So these are the different high-level tasks which we do. Persona scenarios. So when persona scenarios, task analysis, storyboarding, information architecture, design system, right? And I've given to link there, Smashing Magazine and Dribble. These are the two places if you wanted to browse, get study this in detail, make this to as part of your bookmark them actually, right? If you wanted to read in detail. But I'll quickly go through all these points. See, persona is all about understanding user, talking to them. Persona means going and talking to each and every person, detailing out them, how they wanted to use certain application, what they do, what is their day in the life, right? Once you get up, what is next? What is next? You understand the complete story of the different set of users. Then you identify, okay, what are my common set of user I wanted to target as part of my product which I'm building, right? Task analysis, how they do their different tasks, right? If I ask you how you go and open your WhatsApp and how you send out the images, so you have some story. Okay, I first opened my mobile, then I opened my WhatsApp because my WhatsApp is so confidential. I have a password set, right? Then I use my finger to switch on the WhatsApp. Then I go to so and so place to open that particular person. So basically there is a story, right? And we try to understand the complete story, so we make sure that we make it those four values, right, which we have seen that one of the slides: value, efficient, right, feel. So we tried, or to 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 remember this easy, you can always remember these three keywords. Let me type it here. Type here. You guys can see me. I'm writing triple ES. Ease of use, effectiveness, efficient, satisfaction. Do I need to type this? Ease of use, effectiveness, efficient, and satisfaction. See, user ease of use, how easy this product is to use, right? How effectively I'm able to achieve my goal, and how fast. Efficient means how fast I'm able to achieve with minimum number of clicks. And satisfaction is something which, again, the feel factor, right? Whether I feel good or bad with this particular solution or product. Okay, let me come back to this. Okay. So see, as part of this researcher analyst, this is what we do, right? You do personas, task, and storyboarding. Again, this is what we call storyboarding. So basically, putting the overall solution which you are building as a in pictorial way quickly by using the pencil, sketch, pencil, paper, or using, there are a lot of software which you can which are free, which you can use to build your wireframe. Information architecture, again, all the information which you collected from the users, you wanted to put that in a more logical way, right? Let's say login, this is the place the login should go, right? If I wanted to use, this is my carousel place, this is my video place. So this is called architecture, basically the putting information in more logical and scientific way, so that you reduce those you take care of this triple ES, right? And design system, maybe I'll cover in the end of this all three skills. So these days, when we talk about this user experience and all, right, design system is one of the very common term which you get to hear. So don't get confused between system design and design system. System design is more from the development side, and design system is more from the design point of view. Let me check my time. Okay. So next, designer, right? What we do as a designer. So the output looks like this, the color, the look and feel, right? You guys can see that this is looking more finished kind of a solution. So there are different, these are the different activities which we perform as a designer. You do interaction design, you do the interaction in the sense how this interfaces, they are going to talk to each other. Let's say when I click on this interface will come. When I click on this particular interface will come. You will have a carousel. So basically you cover each and every detail which you are going to develop, right? To make sure that you are building this as you're creating this as part of your design process and validating with the end users. When I say end user, the people who are actually going to use this product. You do wireframing also as part of this exercise. You do the visual design, is this the one which you see, like the colorful system and all. And again, the design system is there. So you have seen the design system was there in the researcher job. Design system is there in the designer job, and design system will be there even in the developer role. Now question is, what is UI development, right? As we discussed, this is all about HTML, CSS framework. There are a lot of framework these days. You have a Bootstrap framework, you have a Vue.js framework, Angular framework, React framework, right? So if you ask me 10 or 12 years, 15 years back, right, when I started, this was a very complex subject. But these days, if you ask me, this became very easy because more framework kind of approach. And there are a lot of well-established frameworks are there in the industry. Again, so HTML is all about the browser language, right? CSS is all about look and feel. So cascading style sheet, you use CSS to define how you wanted to render your interface. JavaScript to give dynamic life to your interface, right? All this functionality which you see pop-up coming, right float coming, all this done by JavaScript. So HTML is a static language, CSS is presentation language, and JavaScript is something which will help you to make dynamic your solution. Right. As a developer, you go and create the complete working solution, right? So the screen which you have seen here, you go and build it. Again, design system is there. You can see the difference between the regular developer and UI developer, right? So these folks are very specific to the front end development, and they are highly skilled SMEs who will make sure that they are taking care of the pixel perfect solution. So when I say pixel perfect, in the sense, even when we go with the proper development approach, even this space matters, this font size matters, the image size matter, the image file format matter, right? There are a lot of factors which matter, like which will help you to improve the performance of the our solution, which will help you to have the better interaction and animation, rendering of this page. There are a lot of factors comes into the picture, and that's where your UI developer role comes into the picture. Accessibility, right? Each and every country have their own accessibility standard. If you're building any application, we have to make sure this application is taking care of that specific country accessibility guidelines, right? So when I say accessibility, in the sense like your application should be accessible by most set of users. So let's say I have color problem, right? So your system, your application should be designed in a way so that I, as a user who has some color blindness problem, I should be able to at least see your interface and understand the different colors, right? Or let's say if I'm not able to read properly, and if I'm using some reader, right? I My code should be written in such a way so that the technology can, assistive technology, AT can go and read those texts and tell me that what exactly is there in the interface. Again, it's a very vast, wide domain, right? If we get into detail, there are a lot of different process steps you do. But see, again, as we discussed, right, the whole intent of this particular discussion is to make it simple and go through the very high level understanding of the subject. But again, if any of you are interested to get more or understand more, browse on internet or reach out to me. Okay, next. So I think this is all about what we discussed. We discussed the UX definition. We have gone through the product development process. We understood the overall UX process, which is 4D, right? Discover, define, design, development, 4D. We have gone through the different skill sets which are there in industry when we talk about this UX subject, right? Now let's go through how someone can become a UX designer or developer, right? Let's say if any of you wanted to learn or start with the subject, there are n number of books. Again, there are n number of websites, but these are the three books. If you read maybe this first two, I can tell you, like, you guys are now already, once you complete these books, you can say that you guys have started the UX subject. And these books are very easy, and again, they are not technical book. They doesn't talk about your Java or C sharp, right, or any complicated subject. These are very simple books. It's more about human psychology. The first is the design of everyday things. This talks about how the door design need to be done, how car dashboards should be designed, how the refrigerator should be designed. And I'm telling you, like, once you go through this book, you get out from your home, you look around things, you will definitely have a different perspective. For everything, you will start having a opinion, like why this door is not done properly, right? Why this handle is so and so place? The handle should be in the different place. So this is the kind of effect which this book will have once you go through. The second is uh, don't make me think. Again, as a user, make something which is very easy, simple for me to understand. That is what this book talks about. There is, say example, there is a login. Put that login somewhere on the top right, because that is what I'm used to. But is there any scientific reason? There may not be any scientific reason to put that there. Only one reason, because most of us are used to of using, seeing profile or sign in on right top, and that is called mental model, right? And if you change it, people will not like it. The last is sketching user experience, written by Bill Buxton. Bill Buxton is a Microsoft employee. He's one of the very senior researcher. There is a font also. If you are using a Windows OS, you guys can even see there's a font called Buxton. So that's very again great book, and it's more about prototyping kind of a process. The first is psychology of things which you see around. The second is more about UI related, and the third is all about prototype. Now let's go through some useful resources If someone asks you what is the tool for design, for discovery, to collect the data, if you would have asked this question 3 or 4 years back, like I would have given you a number of tools. But now there's a one tool. You don't need to go for multiple tools. Just go to Figma. So Figma is a free tool, right? And all the designs which people do these days, they use Figma. So Figma become a one tool for designers as well as for developers. It's a free. You guys can go and use any of your email ID and use this tool. So recently, Adobe bought this tool, so now it's part of the Adobe family. If you are looking for inspiration, I strongly recommend make your Musli is a plugin for Chrome. I believe for other browsers also. You can go and add this. If I open my browser, right, if you guys can see my browser, see this is my default new window. If I open my new window, this is what I get default, and you can see I have all the design related applications. So Dribble, so this is your Chrome plugin. Dribble is the most used for any kind of a design inspiration. So if you're looking for an inspiration, you want to understand the different set of design pattern, what people are following, you go to the Dribble. DRIBBLE, right? So again, with by default, you get a lot of popular apps part of this Musli, and this can be a definitely good inspiration. Folks wanted to take much interest and learn this subject, right? A lot of us get confused. What color should I use, right? So for that, if you're designing, let's say your presentation or any documentation, right? For that, you go to this Adobe Color, color.adobe.com, right? I'll show you my favorite part in this. Let's say if I'm doing a presentation which is related to development, I go here and I can search for the subject. Let's say you're doing something for the hospital domain, right? You just type hospital here and it will give you the color palette. And you just select that color palette. So see, there are different color palettes. So let's say I decided to go with this. So you just take all these colors as part of your presentation. You don't need to think about 100 colors, right? It's always good to have minimal set of colors in your presentation. Or you're doing a documentation, you go here and just search for that industry or subject which you're doing, right? Let's say social. Type for social and you'll get a lot of predefined set of color palette. And again, decide one and go with that. Stick to those colors. This is about colors. Okay, for case studies, for UX case studies, right? There is a site called growth.design. This is really interesting. So if you go here, you'll see a lot of case studies. Case studies. See the psychology related case studies, ethics related case studies, popular onboarding, all different subjects are there. Let's say in this, right, LinkedIn, how LinkedIn increased notification opt-in rates by 500%. There is, again, if you wanted to read more about UX or understand, there's a very famous button called $1 billion button. $1 billion button. So basically, in one of the application, they changed one button. They did small design improvement and placement improvement, which helped them to get $1 billion business. Okay, not billion, I think million. 300 million button. This is a great article. You can go through. This is a real case study. How changing a button increases sites annual revenues by 300 million. Okay, so this is all about case studies. You guys can browse on internet. There are a lot of case studies you can get. If you are looking for a user experience course or certification, right, just write down these two names: NNG Group, Nielsen Norman. So they are known as a founder of this user experience subject. The second is HFI. They are a bit expensive. There are more which are low in price. You can go to Google UX course, or there are a lot of these days sites, right? You can go through any course, but yeah, these two are quite popular. They are, so And then D group, they are more into the UX research side. They do a lot of research and study and find out what people like it, why they don't like it, right? More scientific kind of a details. Looking for a definition, go to this LNG. You think about any subject in UX, yeah, these people will have the definition of that. It's all about certification. So yeah, I was talking about design systems. So design systems. Uh, okay, let me show you the example. So see, every company, you look at any product. Let's say you're building a product, right? Think you're building a product. As part of the UX process, we have to make sure these days that you have your own design system, which will hold the complete design language of your solution. When I say design language, how this product should look, each and every component, how they are supposed to work. If drop down is there, this is how it should look, this is how it should work, right? So all this detail is covered through the design system these days. So design system is a subject which will cover the overall your UX process, guidelines, definition. So let me show you. So see, Microsoft has design system called Fluent. Google's is very popular material design system. Atlassian, Apple, Shopify, right? Salesforce, and there's a Carbon from IBM. Let me go through and quickly show you. Let's say material one, right? Material design system. You just type material, and I'll show you how it works actually. And some of this you can even they're free. When I say free in the sense, we can use it if you're building any application, and if you don't know, and if you don't have a time or don't know how to put much effort from the UX side, you can go and use this material design or any of the design system which you wanted to use. Okay, so see, if you go to this, right, so there is a, but why is taking to material design? This is site. Material design is the latest version of Google's open source design system, right? So let's say you're looking for a Android mobile, or let's say you're looking for some styles, right? You're looking for a colors. You go here, you have the complete color palettes, all the colors details, key colors. These are the key colors, color roles. So they have detailed documentation, like which color you should use for what. Again, with all the scientific reasons, right? If you're looking for a component, let's say you're looking for a button, again, you need to design anything from scratch. These days, again, all the big companies, they have their design system. So let's say if I'm building any product, right, in Microsoft, we have something called Fluent. So we are supposed to stick to this. But if I'm building something which is not there in this, I can go and build, then I have to go and make that particular design as part of this design system. So that is it, this is accessible for other people, for the designers as well as for the developer, right? So let's say you're looking for a card, the complete card designs are there here, complete specs are there, so you understand their placement, their pixel values, your accessibility guidelines are there, and even you should get code from here. You guys can explore this later. Let me quickly show the Fluent one because I use Fluent frequently, so I can show you the. But if you go through any design system, they follow the same pattern. Basically, you'll have the index and see this is the button, right? If I wanted to put in my development, I can go to this and I can say show code, and I just need to copy and paste this in my development, and done. So you have the complete package as part of your solution, and you take this code, and this is there in your UI. So you don't need to do anything from scratch. Say I need this one, I just go to show and copy and paste it. I can even get the different themes also from here. I'm looking for something for the dark theme, you change it dark theme, go for the code and put it in your development work. What else is remaining? Okay, this I think I thought I will go through, but I'm sure there's something which you can explore. See, few people are not into design, but someone is asking you to do a birthday card, greeting card. Very recently, this application is getting very popular. This is called Canva. You just play with this. You can go and create quickly, and the final outcome looks like a done by a proper designer. Okay, now this is my final slide. Uh, so let me know if you guys have any questions